This podcast is produced by Sunnydale Studios.
I don't want just anybody. Let me treat you like somebody. Try to dive on a Rari. This forever, we ain't stopping.
Hi lovers, welcome to Big Love Energy, episode 9 of season 2. I'm your host, Jesselou. It's the silly season, well, nearly for me, and the end of the year is upon us. So today's episode is all about reflecting on the year that was and our lessons from this year, both good and not so good. And I'll be sharing my biggest takeaways and some of my favorite things from the year as well, and recapping on this season's guests. Honestly, I'm a little bit frazzled. I actually randomly dyed my hair this morning. So if you're watching this and go, sheesh, her hair looks light, I did that myself. Because I've had no time to go to the hairdresser. Sorry, Samara. Which sums up this time of year for me. It's a little bit hectic, but I'm here, I'm chatting, and I look forward to chatting with you and reflecting on the season that was. Welcome, lovers. I am excited for a little short solo chat today. We've had a hefty few episodes talking to some amazing kick-ass women. It's been such a thrill. I can't believe we're coming to the end of season 2. The countdown to Christmas and 2023 is on, and I'm somewhere in the middle of being completely consumed by the peak period of my working year and so desperately wanting a change of pace. I'm ready for a little break. I'm not taking a huge amount of time off over Christmas, if any at all. I don't think I ever really switch off, but I'm definitely keen to just see the year through and relax with my boys and my loves for sure. Next week, we are finishing the season with episode 10, chatting to the incredible Steph Pace, who is the creator over at Just Another Mummy blog. She is the queen of planning, organization, and intention setting. So there will be heaps of that next week, which I'm really excited to dive into. But this week is a little bit more on the reflection side of things. So we'll be talking about, the highlights, and we're not going to call them lowlights. We're going to call them lessons. There was a few. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, definitely the chat amongst my friends and you know, whoever you talk to, there's a lot of fatigue going around, and there's been a lot of lessons, and if there's a common theme at all, it's definitely going to 2023, changing the pace, simplifying. And I know I bang on about that word a lot on this podcast, but when will we ever learn that sometimes less is more? And yeah, it's about being in the moment and just reducing the chaos, please, for 2023. That's the theme of today. But back to the highlights. Big Love Energy for me has definitely been such a beautiful space, world to enter. Like, everyone's been so beautiful and inviting, and I'm so grateful for anyone who's taken the time to listen to the season or an episode, or shared or liked or commented or just felt through this platform. It's definitely been it's been a challenge for me. I'm been doing this whole social media thing for about 9 years, and this is the first time that I've been an open book, chatty Cathy, about just everything, really. But first up, we're going to talk about the highlights and just touch on a few things that have stood out for me in what's been, honestly, personally, quite a heavy year. But yeah, for me, highlights definitely would have to be Big Love Energy, having this platform come out of nowhere, really. And I suppose nothing comes out of nowhere. It's sort of what is meant to be will be. And it's been such a pleasant surprise, and definitely given me so much strength, and just a big pat on the back, really, from you guys, in terms of just even you listening and hearing me out and wanting to know more, and the feedback and the shares. And we've had so many beautiful guests covering friendship, mental health, working through trauma, relationships, breath work and healing, sexy times. We got sexual a few times. I had my oh gosh. I was going to say, speaking of which, we had my partner on. Gee whiz. And we also had the incredible reading with medium Hayley, which I'm still buzzing from. But yeah, we covered a lot, and just being able to provide, an hour a week in your week to chat about, all those things and more. And we set out at the start of the year to just be like, let's talk about life, love, and all those matters of the heart, but do it in a way that's pretty light amongst the dark, which is pretty much what I'm about from day to day. I can get to the darker side of things real quick. And I wouldn't say dark, but just like the real things real quick. I'm a deep thinker, a deep talker, and I'm the D&M queen with my mates. But at the same time, just want to normalize it and be like, you know what? It's part of life to be going through a million emotions and feeling all the feels. And if it makes it feel normal to talk about those things, and that's a good thing. So tick, we've covered a lot with Big Love Energy, so it's definitely been a huge highlight for me. So thank you for allowing me to do so. Personally, I've moved to my dream location by the beach. Definitely another highlight. Moving was not the highlight. That's the pits. If anyone's been through that recently, that was tough and quite the process. But definitely, the move closer to the beach for me has been a personal highlight. Seeing how at home my boys are there. Because where we were living prior to that was our first little space outside of the separation, so it just held a bit of heaviness around that space, I suppose. And so to come to a new spot and for it to be literally soul drenching in light and that ocean sound has been such a beautiful unplanned, unexpected surprise, because literally in the lead up to that I wasn't even sure where I was going to be living because of the rental crisis that is sweeping the nation. It's definitely been a highlight to know that you can go through all those, emotions, trying to figure life out and why is this happening, and then to be rewarded at the end with, a lot of little things had to line up for that to happen, and for it to, work out, and realizing that if you, put your head down, bum up as usual, and focus, that it'll work out. And just to be able to reap the rewards of that now has been awesome. And I love it so much so that I have decided that in 2023 I'm going to be working from home, which is a highlight yet to come. But I'm already, I'm doing a little bit of the transition at the moment because I'm moving out of the warehouse. And whilst it's honestly, it was such a tough decision to make because I attached so much of my success to having a warehouse, a huge team, and, all those things that look great on paper. For me, I've been yearning to simplify again, and my little hermit introverted heart needs some time just to create from home and be around my kids as well when they're around and stuff like that. I share custody with them, so it's hard when you're doing the juggle and you're running the business and you're spinning so many plates. Like for me, it's like about stripping it back and going back to basics and working from home. Whilst at the start of my business at Louis Luxe, I was working from home and I couldn't wait to get out into a studio space. This coming year, I'm really keen to just go back to basics. And I think the lesson, if we're going to talk about lessons for me, is that sometimes in order to maximize life and your experiences, takes scaling back, and it ends up being more rewarding. We spoke about that in our episode with Being a Bold Woman with the amazing Brielle Holmes, about sometimes we're so set on goal setting and setting intentions, which is great, and we're going to do a lot of that next week, but at some stage you're actually going to have to just sit there and go, what is actually taking away from my life right now? And when you look at it from that perspective, it doesn't take anything to take things away. We're so like, well, we have to buy this and we have to add these things and we have to do more and create more. And for me, it's about being like, no, I've actually got everything I need and I need to take things away because I'm actually very easily pleased. I don't know about you guys, but like it doesn't take much to keep this girl happy. And I think the more that I was sort of adding to my plate and all these exterior expectations, it creates chaos that I didn't sign up for. So I think after on the back of COVID fatigue and a divorce and just feeling like you're just in the rat race for so long, I'm just so keen for a change of pace. So I'm excited and I found, the most perfect little spot by the sea to do it. So that's that. This year has also taught me and my little, as I said, introverted loner self that it's okay to ask for help, to lean on the beautiful friendships you have in your life. As a certified people pleaser, I've spent honestly 37 years trying to figure shit out on my own. And I've discovered through this podcast that it's honestly was a mechanism from my trauma. Just, you become a people pleaser by wanting to not ruffle the feathers or be a burden to anyone. But the more you hold on to your own shit and don't ask for help when the people who love you are around you wanting to help you, the more you're doing everyone a disservice. Because like I, for one, know that I will be the first person to try and help others. But it's so crazy how when we just don't want it or accept it for ourselves. So this year has honestly been after, just that the rigmarole of COVID and divorce and figuring out single mum life and running a business and the fatigue of that, waving the white flag and realizing that it's not a fail at all. It's actually taking ownership and making that decision to be like, no, it doesn't have to be all on me. More on that later next year. We'll talk about that, the back end of that next year, but definitely that has been a lesson, a very welcome one that I've had to learn this year, and it's only caused a whole amount of good, and it's been a saving grace. So keep your friends close, love them hard, and don't be a loner like me. I am not a loner anymore. I let love in. I wrote a poem about that. I definitely think one of my biggest lessons from this year as well is that, we touched on it on one of the episodes about rock bottom. Whilst I wouldn't say that it's been a full rock bottom year or anything like that, it has been a heavy and a hard year, as it has for many. It's to not get caught up in the fact that while we're navigating that time, it's not a waste of time. I know that I have done so much hard work this year, and it's been really tough. And sometimes it feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel because you're just in it. You're in the trenches. But I know that it's setting myself up for next year. And I know that we've been saying that. It's like, this is the year. Surely 2020 was COVID and 2021 is like lockdowns are over. But then we couldn't sort of get out of that cycle. And then this year it's been like, surely this will, things will sort of be easier, but as a small business owner, it definitely has not been. But I know that this time around, old Jessie would have not been okay with the sort of challenges that came her way and sort of taken it personally. But with the work I've done and just the sort of open-mindedness and the wokeness to realizing that, it's not happening to me, it's happening for me, and I'm learning lessons that I've never had to endure on my own before. While it's hard, it's also really positive, and I'm more hopeful than ever that because of the year that's been, 2023 going to shape up just beautifully. And that's why, doing these things and moving to a different space and making those decisions to, simplify and work from home and scale back, whilst they on paper seem like I'm downsizing in many ways, it's serving me in the best way possible, and it's where I'm supposed to be for sure. And it's so funny because, it does sound like life is scaling back and downsizing and all those things, but as Medium Hayley predicted in my reading, the business is shaping up to have its biggest year yet next year. So it took me to realize that, less is more in order to do that. So I'm really excited for this coming year because it will be simpler, like my vocab at the moment. But hopefully more rewarding in the way that I get to really sit back and sort of enjoy the process a little more, because it does feel like I've been very much a single mother duck with her feet paddling under the water like a madman for about 3 years now. But I'm ready. So I think what I'm trying to say there is the lesson definitely has been that, like, I'm really proud. And it, like a year ago, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have even be able to acknowledge that I'm proud of the work that I've done or the conversations I've had with others and myself and the acknowledgement of the process, because I've just been, one of those people that just sort of goes on to the next and figures this bit out. Like, I'm ready to live life. Definitely another lesson for this year has been learning that whilst you can tick all the boxes, do all the right things, think that you've been putting everything in place to set yourself up, but life happens, as we know, and things are going to happen out of your control, and you just have to show up every day. And for me, the lesson has been I'm really grateful that I have done a bunch of work, and I keep my life outside of work really simple, and I show up and do those rituals. I look after my body. I surround myself around good people. I practice gratitude. I keep things simple, and it's been able to it's allowed me to show up in really hard situations at work and not take it personally, because I feel whole outside of my business life. And I think the lesson in that, for like, if you're listening today and you're going through something and it feels heavy because it feels personal, to just really realize that sometimes, that it is a popular cliche. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And it's how you show up and face those challenges and not crumble when you feel like crumbling. Because even though, as a business owner, I can't really sort of take the hat off at the end of the day and be like, oh, that's not my problem anymore. It's, I go to sleep at night stressing about the ins and outs of it all. I know that at the end of the day, I've got love and health, and stories and growth and so much ahead of me that it's, even though those hard things rear their ugly heads, like, it's not me. It's not my life. It's what's happening at the time. And if you keep showing up and you keep doing the work outside of that to keep building your strength, you're going to be okay. I think that lesson is just to don't take things personally when things are going all sorts left, right and center, and just to keep centered, and like we did in those episodes about breath work, we did touch on it a couple of times. I think Medium Hayley touched on it. We obviously did the episode with Josie Brown and then Brielle, all amazing breathwork facilitators, and that's not a coincidence. It's been a huge part of my life, when literally things are going haywire at work and the stress is real, coming back to center and using those tools has been huge for me. So more of that in 2023. And another lesson for this year definitely would be just to own your story, hold strength in your story, speak your truth. It is scary. In fact, every guest that we have on here, they're like, oh, I'm nervous to, talk about me. But the more we open up about ourselves and, show others our bits. Oh, not our bits. Not your bits, guys. That's not what I meant. What I meant to say was like what makes you you and your individuality and your vulnerabilities and your insecurities and your icks and all those things that are really scary. It actually shows your strength by showing up. So I think that's been a huge lesson, is just to drop that wall down a little bit. And speak up and allow the conversation to flow, because I think the more people that speak up and don't suppress and express, and I've said this before, but we are recapping, the more people are going to be able to show up in life as themselves without any of those worries and concerns that they're going to be, told that what they're doing is not okay. So that's been a huge lesson, a simple one, but a goodie. We're going to go into our little question box that we put up on the Big Love Energy podcast Instagram page. We did it a little differently this week. We didn't do our love letters. We thought we would put up a question box that was more along the lines of, we asked what you learned this year, and we had a few little responses. And so one of them was, I learned to love myself for the first time in my life. Amen. I love that for you. And I can hand on heart say that, I'm the same. I feel like, touching on what I spoke about before, finally just being like, you know what? I've had all sorts happen in my life. I've done things that I'm not proud of. I've made a million mistakes. And I'm going to talk about them. Has been so freeing and has allowed me to really love myself and all my little weirdness. And I think that we need to do that for the generation coming along. I definitely do it for my boys, and try and show them the way. And of course, we want that for others. We want everyone to love themselves, so we need to do that for ourselves as well. So good on you. This one is, I finally learned how to let go of what no longer serves you. Yes. Getting rid of that noise and chaos in your life is the best loss you will make. Like, just let go. I learned early in my therapy journey to accumulate what you call Teflon shoulders, and it is the best thing I've ever done, because you cannot control how others will think of you or talk about you or say about you or have thoughts about you. You got to know your truth. You got to know that you're showing up every day, doing the right things, trying to be a good person, having hope. Let go of the rest, because at the end of the day, when you go to the grave, it'll be you and your conscience, and you just got to know that you've done all that you can, and what other people do or say, it doesn't matter. This one says, leaned into what actually makes me me. Amazing. I love that. Yeah, we definitely need to do more of that. For me, it's been going back to dance, sharing feminine energy, talking about, matters of the heart, and just showing up in a way, even on the days when it's been really hard and I haven't wanted to, and there's been a million things going on behind the scenes. It's been really important for me to show up and share myself in the best way I know how. And the more you do that, the more you will realize that that's what people want of you, is like just to be yourself. Literally just be yourself. So good on you. I love that for you. Alrighty, guys. As I said, a little bit of a short one this week. Next week's all about intention setting and getting to know Steph a little bit more and her story. As I said, she is the queen of planning and organization. So it will be a perfect end to the year, going into the new year, talking about all things 2023. But as always, we end the episode with words to live your week by. Words to live your week by. This week I am just got a little quote that I wrote, and it feels just fitting for this new season. And just like the change of season, the air had a sense of second chance. She gave into the wind's new tune, her rested heart ready to dance. I hope that after this little Chrissy period, everyone gets a little rest, ready to dance in 2023. I'm sure keen. And there we go. Thank you for listening. If you loved this week's episode, please leave a review or provide a 5-star rating. It really helps us let us know that you're loving the show. And of course, any DMs and comments and shares, we really appreciate as well. All the feedback has been amazing. Thank you so much. You can stay up to date with us and follow our socials, Big Love Energy Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. But we'll pop all the social handles in the show notes below. Thanks for listening, lovers. I can't wait to get into next week's episode. We'll chat then. Bye.
I don't want just anybody. Let me treat you like